Hello and welcome to my channel again. Thank you for tuning in. Today I have kind of more of a personal and maybe emotional video for you, but it is to help you with your real estate needs and planning for the future. Alright, so today I am sitting on my floor again because I felt like it needed to be a more personal video because it is a sensitive topic. So full disclaimer, I am not an attorney and I am not a legal or a financial advisor. So if any of these things hit home and you really want to start looking into your future and what happens to your stuff after you pass away, please consult an attorney and a legal advisor. That's my full disclaimer. So to start off, in 2020, in January, on January 12th, my mother passed away. Kind of unexpectedly, and it threw my world into a whirlwind. So I want to take what I learned from that and share it with you guys, so you can think about the future and your loved ones. My mom is here with us. She wanted to be cremated and laid to rest with her dad. So this summer, me and my sister are going to be flying back to her home state and putting her next to her dad, and I get her first. So I thought she'd be a good guest, I guess, on my channel today. I want to tell you some preventative measures you can take if you have any finances or real estate that you want to pass on to your loved ones, and how you can avoid probate. The reason I want you to be able to avoid probate is because after you or your loved ones pass away, it is a whirlwind. Everything is expected to happen right away, which I understand, but it doesn't really give you time to cope. I remember when my sister-in-law passed away 3 years ago, we had stayed in the hospital for 10 days and literally had to go to the funeral home right after. That's why I wanted to make this video for you, is to give you some tips and ideas for preventative measures to help your family with dealing with the loss of a loved one, or yourself, which is a loved one. Let me give you a little definition of what probate is. It is a legal procedure where the courts oversee the distribution of your assets, which I know that doesn't sound like that bad, but it could take 6 months to 2 years for that to actually distribute everything. And I don't know, but in some cases, your family might need the money that you have to pay for your funeral expenses. But these are just some tips that I think might help, and some options. I did some research to see how you could prevent this from happening to your family. Number one thing that I found is you can give property away, which to me doesn't sound like the smartest, especially if you're giving away your house to your family. What is to say that you can live there until you pass away? You know, I mean, I don't know any of your guys' family situations and stuff like that, but there is nothing saying that you get to live there. And that scares me. Especially if you're older and you want to make sure that you get to live in your house until you pass away, but you also want to make it easier on your loved ones. So you think giving it to them will be the easiest? I would just get it in writing that you can live there until you die. Also, depending on the amount that you're giving away, it could lead to a lot of taxes. I don't know all of that information, but it was one of the things that it said could be a problem, is they might have to pay huge taxes on gifting, and it's different in every state, so I don't know if I can help you there. But like I said, reach out to an attorney or a CPA if this is an option for you. Alright, so for the next one, you could make joint ownership. So this is very common with spouses. So the way I think about it, when you go to the bank, you open an account, you guys together, that means you guys are joint owners. So you both have all the power, all the access to what is in that account. So you can also do this with real estate. It's the same thing when you're married. Usually both of your names are on the house. So that means you guys are both joint owners and you have complete ownership of it. And you can do this with other family members. So if you want to make it easy like that, where it's just as soon as you pass away, it goes to this loved one, maybe put them on as a joint owner. And then the next option could be doing a transfer upon death. It's different in every state, so there's different options there, but they're going back to giving property away. You can have paperwork saying that it's transferable upon death, so it's kind of the same thing, but it's all different, like what you can do. I know when I worked at the credit union, we had a lot of members that would put beneficiaries on their account, and that's kind of the same thing, so that once it's transferred upon death, they fill out a form that's a beneficiary form for who they want their funds transferred to upon death. So you can do the same thing with real estate. And then our number one tip is maybe considering a trust. So there's two types of trust. There is the irrevocable and revocable trust. Irrevocable is when you cannot revoke it, or you cannot get rid of it, versus revocable, you can remove it and create a new one, or reinstate it. Is a whole bunch of stuff. But basically, to create a trust, you have to have an attorney execute a document that puts you as the trustee, and while you are the trustee, you have complete control over everything listed in your trust, which by my knowledge, you can put real estate and finances, and I'm guessing maybe cars and stuff like that, but I'm not sure on that. I just know for sure finances, and so like bank accounts and stocks and stuff like that, you can put in the name of the trust. So it becomes a separate entity from you, but you have complete control until you pass away. It then goes to the successor trustee, so they become in charge. So you get to pick who is the successor trustee, and then they are also in charge of distributing assets by a will or stuff like that, and you get to list the beneficiaries in the trust. It just kind of protects you, and it gives you a plan in case anything happens, and so it avoids probate. An example of when a trust would have been good is we had a client, his mom was older and she owned a house and some land here in Boise, and she was getting older and she was getting sick and she was starting to need help around the house. So he moved into the house with her, and then eventually put a manufactured home on the land, so he was right next door and everything like that. But then she ultimately needed a more advanced care facility. He could no longer help her the way she needed it, and so they put her into a skilled nursing facility. And he, as far as he knows, this is what she told him too, is that the house was his when she passed. And so he moved into the house, he started renting out the manufactured home, and he starts remodeling our house and making it his for him and his family. But what he didn't know is because this house was completely in her name, the way that assisted livings work or nursing facilities is they're going to charge you until you don't have anything left, unfortunately. And I mean, that's not bad. I mean, they're taking care of you. So if you can't pay, if your insurance isn't paying for it fully, or Medicaid, or whatever the case is, if it's not paying for it fully, they're going to try and get the money out of your assets. So because this name was in her name, the mother's name fully, they ended up putting a lien on her house, and they ended up having to sell the house and the manufactured home to care for her facilities and cover her debts and stuff like that. But if it was in a trust, it would be different because it'd be in the trust's name, and they can't put a lien on a trust, as far as I know. So that would have been a great situation to have that trust while she was there. It wasn't her, I mean, they could bill her insurance, they could use her other assets and stuff like that, but not the house that she ultimately wanted to give to her son. So that's one sad situation. I just wanted to use my personal experience that I've had so far in 2020 to help it give you guys some tips and tricks, and maybe just get you guys thinking about the future. Not to be negative or anything like that, but I always think it's good to think about the future, especially if you have loved ones and you don't want them to worry about you and you don't want to worry about them. You want to make sure that they're taken care of. So this is my quick video. I just want to do really quick for you on my floor in my room with my mom, and just remind you guys to remember, we're not promised tomorrow. This was not expected. My mom was only 56 and my sister was only 19. So just remember, you're not promised tomorrow. It's okay to think ahead. It's not being sad or morbid. It's just making sure you're protecting your loved ones. And I promise my videos are going to be more upbeat and happy, but I just thought this was a serious issue that no one thinks to talk about. So remember to always say I love you to the ones you love. Subscribe if you want more videos, and let me know if you've been there. I know that people die all the time, but it's hard when it's your family. So always remember to say I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.